40k is brilliant. I love playing it. I love collecting the minis. I'm okay at painting it. And I love hanging around my friends talking shop about it. It's fantastic. From every aspect of the hobby to all the narrative that goes with it. It's just a great world. And I think in days such as these, where walk outside your front door and you could be confronted with anything from actual war, plague, famine, prejudice, and all the other nastiness that goes with actual life, it's nice to have an escape where you can escape into a world of plague, war, pestilence, famine, prejudice. Hang on. No, I'm only joking. But seriously, 40k is just a great escape for me, and it really helps me unwind just after a week's work. I mean, I've got right in front of me a lovely beer, and I am currently working on some Genestealer Cult Jackals, the biker dudes. And, you know, I thought I'd talk about the preview today that GW's released, because, as you probably know, all week they've been releasing previews into quote-unquote 9th edition. Now, today, slightly disappointing. It's the weakest showing of the set they've released this week. I mean, it's Friday the 6th. Well, no, Friday the 5th. And we're talking about table sizes, battle sizes, battle map, you know, how big the board should be. It's interesting, I suppose. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on it, try and dissect it and see if we can glean any information from it. But I would have rather them talked about something else, like how terrain would have interacted with things. But hey, you know, I could be a very small minority. A lot of people out there could be like, hey, GW, where can I play my games? How big should the boards be? So, you know, without further ado, let's go into it. Now, from the previous showings or previews, we know that basically 40k games have been now boiled down, will be like shoved into brackets. You've got Combat Patrol, Incursion, Strike Force, and Onslaught. Now that's not counting things like Kill Team and Apocalypse, but I think those are going to be the four main ones. And now GW is giving you basically a rule set to how many detachments you're allowed to bring for those particular game types. Obviously, the lower game types like Combat Patrol, you only get to bring one detachment. So it kind of kicks in the head. People being stupid and bringing like multiple detachments, you know, to try and get the most out of the minis, or most out of the rules. If you had particularly one set of minis that were kick-ass and cheap points, you're going to bring one detachment, for Combat Patrol. And this is really solidifying what GW has kind of been pushing with this. You know, they want people to be playing 40k more, and if they can get people to play 40k in like the break time at work, which is what this allegedly is designed for, then I think that's going to be a win-win for GW. So you got one section for Combat Patrol, 2 for Incursion, 3 for Strike Force. Strike Force being 2,000 points, what I normally play anyway when I'm playing against the boys. 3 detachments, that's normal. Onslaught 4. After I've read this article, I can see the new norm shifting to 2,500 points, or the equivalent power level. I'll go into why later, but that's what I can see. And yeah, it just gives you... Everything about this preview is for the majority of it is, it's not rules, more sort of guidelines. Like the next bit, it just gives you like a guideline of how much time you should spend playing those particular missions. Combat Patrol, the one that's saying you could do in your dinner break at work, up to an hour. Now, don't know how long you guys have for your dinner break at work, but I don't have an hour. But hey, that's neither here nor there. You know, Incursion 2 hours, Strike Force 3 hours, Onslaught 4 hours. Strike Force again, 2,000 points, 3 hours. That sort of tracks about right. You know, as long as you know your stuff, and we're not referring to the rulebook every now and then, but 3 hours is about right. Now this is the crux of this particular preview, the meat and potatoes. Everything before was sort of like, we kind of already knew that. It's only obvious, but this sort of GW appear to be encouraging people to play by saying it's okay to play on smaller tables. Now, you go into a GW store and it's 6x4. That's the table. You've got tiles for the table. That's always been the size. Most people have built 6x4 like I know Jamie has built like a sort of attachment for his table that brings up to 64 so he can play 2,000 point games of 40k. And now they're saying that it's okay to play on smaller sizes. I mean, look at that. Combat Patrol Insurgent, 44 by 30 inches. Strike Force, 44 by 60. Onslaught, 44 by 90. That's Strike Force on Onslaught. No, Strike Force is the one I'd normally be playing. But that's slightly smaller table. But it gives you a minimum. This, to me, is good. And I'll tell you for why. Most people don't understand that... How can I put this best? It's a commodity, space. Space is a commodity. A lot of people just don't have access to it. Don't have a room in the house where they could put a 6x4 table. They don't have a 6x4 table. And they might not be able to muster anything to put their army in to take it down to the nearest Games Workshop, the nearest hobby store. They may live miles away from the nearest hobby store. They might not be able to drive, so, you know, public transport and all this stuff. By giving a minimum size that is smaller than what we're used to, fair enough, the games may be a bit more cramped for some people's tastes. But I bet you they'll be going faster. Combat might be better. Well, it's certainly going to be quicker if the distance between A and B, A being the knife and B being the place where you put the knife, is shorter. And most importantly, people might be able to play it in their houses now without taking up like 90% of a room that they have, which is good news. Just saying it's okay is good news. I mean, this might just be all, well, duh, people have been doing that anyway, but I think by putting it in black and white, they're just making the point. You know, you guys can play this in your own houses. You can have the space to do this, which is, it's just good news in my opinion. I mean, that's just a feel-good takeaway for me. Like I said, it's not saying a massive amount, it's implying more than anything that you can have fun even at smaller sizes. It's giving an example for moving further on here that there's 18 Eternal War missions to choose from in the book, the new rulebook for match play, and they're giving the example of here 1, the invasive incursion. So like 1 to 3 are going to be for combat patrol. So I don't know how they're going to divide up between the rest of them, onslaught, incursion and strike force, God knows, but they give us an example for combat patrol at least, which is nice. I mean, you can see there from the picture. I'm not going to go into it. They've already shown a preview. You know, they've given you like primary objectives and secondary objectives that you could possibly have, or switch out for one that you prefer. This isn't really saying anything new or mind blowing. Oh, excuse me. Oh, hang on. I think I'll have a little bit of beer. Delicious. So yeah, like I said, guys, it's not really much of a preview. It's basically boiled down to saying it's okay to play on a smaller board, which in itself is good, as I've made abundantly clear. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Will you be hosting more gatherings at your potential house? It would be interesting, actually, because this being a space saver, a lot more... I'm willing to bet that a lot more non-GW sort of hobby shops, things like that, will be... It wouldn't surprise me if they started building minimum size tables, just so they can fit more people in there. You know, get more people through the door. You know, might be a bad thing. You know, people are used to playing on 6x4 tables, but if it gets more people into the hobby, I'm all for it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully we'll get something a bit more sexier in the next preview, hopefully tomorrow. But until then, I shall catch you later.